فرش التراب يضمني وهو غطاء حول الرمال تلفني
So I went on a trip with, well, it was actually, it's a social justice trip that started with Father Bob Holmes. He's from an organization called Christian Peacemaker Teams, and he lives in Israel-Palestine for much of the year, and he works with Christian Peacemaker Teams there to kind of get in the way between military and Palestinians to try to resolve conflicts. And so he has been doing this trip for a number of years, and I decided that this year I would like to join that experience and kind of maybe see the Holy Land, Israel, Palestine, and learn a little bit more about the conflict that's going on there.
Oh, awesome. Was there a clear definition between who were the people of Israel and who were the people of Palestine?
Sure. I mean, I don't know if walking down the street necessarily you'd always be able to tell who was who, but certainly you certainly saw how the military, the Israeli military, treated the Palestinians and treated them it was very obvious that they were treated very differently than the Israelis. So, for example, when there's a checkpoint that people need to go through, the Israelis go through with no difficulty, whereas the Palestinians get checked and fingerprinted and harassed and sometimes not allowed to go through the checkpoint or are held up for hours and hours on end, and then they end up just giving up and not going through the checkpoint.
See,
Okay.
I was 13 years old. I was tying ships. 13 years old, because my father died at age 37, died young, and the British wouldn't give us any help. I mean, not like here. So the family have to help. And Nelly's father was the quarantine officer in the harbor. Nelly's father, Uncle Isa. And Uncle Isa told the foreman, because most of the fellows they are young fellows, and I was, the ship come, we take the rope and put it on the piers. This is when I started working. So some ships used to come, and full of Jews. The British wants to show the Arab that they are not going to spread them around. They'll put them in Athlete. It's a camp in Athlete. And then they sneak them out slowly. You see? Sneak them out and they go to Jewish area. The Jewish area was Hadara Carmel. Hadara Carmel. And there, you see, the war came, last war in Palestine, the British fighting the German in the desert, and the Jews they joined the army to fight the German. And when they were fighting there, it was all arranged. They promised the Jews to give them the Balfour Declaration, which is part of Palestine. That's what they promised to give them. So what happened? It was arranged. The hospital is here, the army camp here. After the war is finished, they built them in here houses to these army guys who fought with the British and Germans. It was all arranged. Why did they build them these houses in front of the army? And how did they take Palestine? In the book it says, if they catch a gun, whether he's a Jew, Arab, or whoever he is, a revolver, they'll hang him. It says in the book. That's what the law was. When I became an ambulance driver, I used to get these, they hang. If he's a Muslim, we have 3 mortuaries. The Muslim, the Christian, and the Jews. And, but nevertheless, this is what happened. Because they built these things, because they promised to give them part of Palestine. That's why I am ahead now, because I was on duty at night when I was ambulance driver. Suddenly, the tanks in Haifa, Palestine, they took Haifa first. Suddenly the tanks, what the hell are they doing? Suddenly we start to get telephones. We were 2 drivers at night, and one is Subhi and me. I told him, what the hell going on? The British, there is shooting and all this. They gave the people who were in front of the army camp, they were soldiers with the British fighting the Germans. So they gave them all their equipment. The tanks, jeeps, trucks, everything. And we start going and bringing people who are shot, and the people start to run away to the harbor. And we were surprised. Who was doing this? The British. But this is what happened. That's how they took Haifa. The Jew all over. I took my family right away to the harbor, and they took sailboat, and they went to a village in Lebanon called Amur. That's below, above Sidon. And then I stayed. You see, I thought, well, things will. But you should see the dead bodies I was taking. And how did they take Palestine? In the book it says, if they catch a gun, whether he's a Jew, Arab, or whoever he is, a revolver, they'll hang him. It says in the book.
Virtually every day, several times a day, the Palestinian people feel the racism that's going on. And almost all of it is through the military that are everywhere and have all the power over the Palestinians. And so it was nothing to see and notice many soldiers that could do anything they wanted. They could stop you, they could talk to you, they could prevent you from going, they could have a checkpoint, and just some of the Palestinians could take 10 minutes or even a half an hour just to look at their identification. And of course, if they didn't have identification, forget it, they're not getting past the checkpoint. Several times we crossed the checkpoint along with other Palestinians from one side of the road to the other side of the road in their own neighborhoods. And we got in line with the Palestinians. And the soldiers did not like that because they were harassing the Palestinians, but they didn't want to harass the North Americans. So we were clearly visitors, and so a couple times that this happened, they invited us to come to the front of the line, go through the line so they could continue harassing the Palestinians. What threw them off was we said, no, we'll wait in line. These people were ahead of us. And that threw them off because they didn't know whether to continue to detain and harass the Palestinians ahead of us or let those people through so they can get us out of the way so that we wouldn't witness what they were doing.
فرش التراب